Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree Trash to Treasure red truck tag, and I'll tell you why. I tried to use one of these tags the other day in a DIY and it got messed up, and then somebody sent me this truck and it was broken. So these are both items you can get from the Dollar Tree. You can make this with newly purchased items, but I will show you why they're trash to treasure. So I tried to remove the paper off of that tag and it was a huge fail. I don't know if they're just super glued on there like they used to not be or something, but I was like, you know what? Once it's dry, I'm sure I'll be able to find something to do with it. And actually, at first, I was like, I don't really know if I could get over the texture that's been left behind. But then I saw this tag from Gordman's, and I was like, you know what? I think we can go ahead and make something, use that texture to our advantage. So all I'm doing is, while the paint is wet, I have ivory chalk paint on there. I'm dipping the edge of the paintbrush in truffle, just the very, very edge, and I'm going back and forth in sections. I'm using the width of the foam brush to create almost like the planks. And I know right now it kind of looks like a hodgepodge mess, but don't worry, the more we work on it, the better it will look. What I'm just doing is I'm trying to create sort of barn board look. And instead of painting it brown and then whitewashing it and weathering it, I went ahead and I took the ivory, created the base coat with the texture, and now I'm just brushing on sort of that wood grain stain look. Turn the brush sideways if you need to, create deeper lines and deeper variations, and that's how it looks when it's all done. Guys, I'm not a wizard. I'm just practiced. You just guys have to practice. Just trust yourself. I think that the biggest hurdle people have is they either use not enough paint or too much paint. So it's just a matter of trial and error. And I'm telling you, the more you try and error, just pay attention to what you're doing. Remember what formula you used last time and whether or not it works, to use it or to change it up for the following next time. So as I mentioned, that somebody had gifted this to me. They sent it to me in friend mail and it was broken, but I was not about to throw it away. This thing is a unicorn. And then when I saw that tag that only had the half truck on it, I was like, oh yeah, that's what we're going to do. But of course, I still need more of the truck. So I pulled off the tree because I have a feeling the reason it snapped is because the tree actually adds extra dimension in the back, which actually was preventing it from laying flat. So I snapped the tree off. I sort of measured how wide I wanted it to be. The inspiration piece actually kind of has the front of the truck off of the tag as well, but I wanted the front of the truck to be on the tag and just have the back of the truck to be off. And we're going to switch up the tree. We're not going to put on a snowman. We're going to make the words a little bit different. That one said be merry and bright. We just put merry and bright. But you can put be. You can do whatever you want. You can write Merry Christmas, Happy Trees, Trucks Forever, Homeward Bound, whatever you want to do. I'll be home for Christmas is sort of a big one with the truck this year. So what I've done is I've laid some alcohol swabs on top of the glitter. One of you guys gave me that great tip, and it does sort of loosen up the glitter glue, which makes it a lot easier to get it off. So I just laid a few alcohol swabs. You can use alcohol and a tissue or paper towel if you want. Just let it sit on there for a few minutes. It will remove some of the red paint, but I knew I was going to repaint it anyway, so that was okay. What I actually did was I bought a Waverly chalk paint in crimson this year because I knew I was going to probably use it a lot at Christmas time. But what I did first was I tried to repair the truck. I didn't go ahead and glue the whole tail end on. What I did was I measured how much was going to hang off the tag, drew a line, and then cut that off before I went ahead and I removed all of the glitter, because you don't want to move the extra glitter if you don't need to. Then I sanded it down once it was dry, and I added a coat of the crimson red chalk paint. Okay? Now what I'm trying to do is try to do the placement of the tree. Do I want the tree to lean forward? Do I want the tree to lean back? But I really like the way the tree was painted, and it really needs to be leaning back because the snow kind of would land on it if it was, leaning backwards. So we're going to go ahead, and I didn't like the fact that it added dimension in the back, so I'm going to square off the tree. Basically, I set it behind the truck, and I drew a line of where I wanted to cut it so it fit perfectly in that 90-degree angle of the truck. I took the berries off and I readjusted them so that they would go not wrapped around the back. They would just go under the branches on the edge and around the front again. Because again, I wanted it to lay flat against the board. I didn't want it to be dimensional. Okay. So I took a black Sharpie and I created sort of those shadow lines between, just took a straight edge and a black Sharpie and I just drew shadow lines between the boards. I didn't make them even. I made the last board kind of big. And then I took my white chalk paint to place out my letters. I knew that it wouldn't be washable on porous paint, but if I use pencil on here, you guys won't see it. I know you can barely see the white, but I figured it's better than trying to paint white over the Sharpie, and at least you could probably see it a little bit better. But I just basically, you take a pencil and you place out your lettering. You do how you want. Again, we've talked about this lots of times. You can print, you can copy off of a sticker or something that's already on the world. We could have probably copied the word Mary off the side of the truck before we removed it. Any of those things would have been really okay. You could use stickers, you could use vinyl clings, whatever you have to write whatever you want. I'm just using the white chalk paint. And I will tell you, I did realize tonight for the first time, which is dumb because I should have realized it a long time ago. When you're writing with paint, it is a lot easier if the paint flows. Chalk paint doesn't really flow very well because it is very thick. So what I think I'll do in the future is we will water down the paint we're going to use to write, or I just use straight acrylic craft paint. Because you see how the difference, if you have chalk paint and acrylic craft paint, you know how well the acrylic craft paint flows compared to the chalk paint. So you kind of have an idea of what I'm meaning. Now I just took the ampersand off of that little notebook that I had to copy how it looks. I'm not a person who just keeps fonts up in my head all the time. No, I do. I have some, but I don't know ampersands. I always get it messed up. I always end up drawing like a treble clef, and it doesn't work. But we're just going to go ahead and make this tag hole a little bit bigger in proportion with the tag size. I'm using the same method we used on the last tag video, where I'm just taking a screwdriver and slowly drilling a hole in. Then I add my little scissor and I twist it down until it makes the hole bigger. My big scissor and twist it down until it makes the hole a little bit bigger until you get the size that you want. Clean off the back and the edge. This time I actually rolled up a piece of sandpaper into like a small tube, and I got it in there and I sanded it off. And I also used that sandpaper inside the piece of foam board. So this is just a little piece of foam board that I used to create it's a reinforcement. It's supposed to look like a reinforcement on the tag. We're going to go ahead and create that. The inspiration piece had it in red, but I was going to go ahead and make it in black just to keep more of a neutral color. Really let the truck stand out, I think. Now, I think I'm going to do a little something to this truck. So I've taken my red paintbrush, and it's still a little damp with red, and I've barely put any black on it, like dipped the very corner in the black. And then I've just brushed it off onto the surface that I mixed my paint in to barely make a dry brush. And then I just hit the deepness, wherever I thought there would be a shadow. The underside of where the truck is, behind the wheel well, across the top of the truck, under the roof. And I did this because I wanted to mask that chipped part where the door was. So I just kind of created a little bit of old and rust in certain areas, wherever I thought it would look good. And you do the same. I wanted the worst paint job on this door, and I did 100%. Picked the worst paint job on this door. It wasn't truly on purpose, but I didn't care how it looked because I wanted it to look like this was Grandpa's truck that Grandpa has had Grandma repaint the sign in the truck for the last 40 years. Every Christmas she repaints the sign. Do you understand the look that I was going after? Hopefully. And you'll see we're actually going to even age it more in a minute. But now I just took some white paint. I dipped my finger in it. This is actually ivory. And I topped all the highlights wherever I thought snow might land on the truck. On the wheel well, on the hood, over by where the lights are, on the roof, actually at the base of the window. You guys know when you roll down your windows and there's snow along the bottom of the windows. I just hit that with a little bit of the snow for a little bit of highlight effect. As you can see, it's really easy. The best tip that I can give you guys for how do you paint stuff is to see. Artists look, and they don't look with their mind, they look with their eyes. And I know that that sounds silly, but it is 100% true. When you look at something and you think you know what it's supposed to look like, that's what you'll see. If you look at something for the way it truly looks, that is what you'll see. So that's the difference. One thing we were learned when we were in high school was to actually turn your project upside down. If you were drawing from, oh, that was really great timing. If you're drawing a picture from like a photograph, if you turn it upside down, you're more likely to see the shapes than to actually see the person or the image, if that makes any sense. So the only thing that I'm doing is a lot of people do have trouble with their painting and their lettering. So I wanted to show you a tip that you could do just to accent any, I guess, up the level of any of your fontage. Is I'm just creating a shadow, and make sure you pick, if it's always going to be the right side and the underside, always be the right side and the underside. I've just taken the regular old Sharpie, and I'm just going over, edging wherever there is a shadow, would be outlining the underside or the right side of all of the letters, and including the loops and everything. And what that does is that just takes it from to up. And now I've done the same thing with the truck. I've just gone back over it because, like I said, I want it to look like it was last year was painted white and Grandma painted it black this year. And they always use this truck when they're selling Christmas trees. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. It was so much fun to do. I'm so glad I was able to save this. Oh, that's a piece of mop yarn. I forgot to tell you. If you guys really enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share with friends and family. Anybody you know might be interested in making one of these or saving their trash or any of the techniques. Go ahead and do so. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you guys take care. God bless. And I'll see you next time. Bye.